Hey guys, welcome to another Trade Genius podcast. Philip here with Bob as always. And today's episode, we're going to dig in a little bit into this FTX probe and some political blocking that was going on. Pretty interesting stuff. And Bob's got the details for you. So let's dive into this.
Trade Genius.
Yeah, Phil, this is really interesting to me because, when I was looking at the corruption, I obviously knew that they're buying off members of Congress and the regulators, but I didn't know to the extent that the Congress is actually running interference for them with the SEC, which is really weird to me because I thought Gary Gensler was actually in Sam Friedman's court here, right? So the fact that you had Congress in there trying to stymie the move, and the interesting thing about it to me is, I'm a right-wing homeboy, but there are 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats that were pushing for this to be blocked, which is ironic. And I think 5 out of the 8 of those people actually took money already from FTX or from him directly. And I think, as we just keep pulling the threads, I think we're going to find out that the corruption here, I think, might be unprecedented in modern times, Phil.
Yeah, a little further in that article, it talked about how these guys, specifically these guys that were running interference, had received donations. And I think, this just brings up something that's probably been a bigger issue, right? Ongoing. But hopefully this is like the catalyst where you can get some cleanup and things come out the other end a little better. But yeah, it's pretty striking. This is pretty blatant. I mean, I don't know how else you can call this other than corruption, right? From an outside entity to allow it to continue on doing its bad behavior.
Yeah, and I think, look, this start. It gets more and more expensive to run, campaigns, right? And I think, and I don't want to just use the word Democrats. I'll just use the word politicians have become very adept at using what I would call non-pristine money to basically to support their campaign. So, in the beginning, it was you out there, pitching the ads and stuff like that, and then we have these lobbyist groups. Now we have these PACs, and now we have these super PACs, and now we have basically foreign influence through NGOs and through TikTok. So everything's getting so muddled, and this war in Ukraine, I think, was just too. I think it was too juicy. The money machine was just too huge for these politicians to let go. Look, you have Mitch McConnell and those guys are just as eager to pump money into that country as the Democrats were. And so, we don't even know where all this money, basically a boomerang back. People know that now, right? There's a boomerang effect where Ukraine decides that they're going to get into the digital currency arena while they're fighting a war, which, basically further muddied where the fungibility of the money and where it came from. And at the same time, he was trying to use the SEC to basically blow up Binance. Is Binance a Chinese front? The Chinese trying to blow up FTX, which was a U.S. front. Now you hear rumors that FTX was probably a CIA creation or CIA enabled. And I mean, this thing just gets, stinks higher and higher to heaven. And now we're finding out is that people are using foreign aid basically to boomerang back into politicians' pockets for reelection campaigns. So I don't know how they fix this, Phil, but I think, it's going to get really, really ugly, especially since I read an article, and I wish I would have gave that one to you too. Is that they said everybody's wondering why they have not arrested this guy, why they haven't, put him in jail, why didn't they request extradition? All this stuff is because if there's fraud involved here, the clawbacks come.
Right.
And I think they say, basically don't fear the reaper. It's like these guys don't fear the clawback because it'll wipe out a lot of these politicians' war chests completely. Because they have, and I think it's going to happen anyway. There's over 1 million claimants now on this whole FTX debacle. And Sam put the bankruptcy in U.S. courts, which means there's all kinds of discovery is going to happen here. And also special masters can be assigned and anybody, in the U.S. assets can get clawed back. It's going to get really ugly. And I don't even know what they're going to do with the Bahamas. I mean, the Bahamas basically, well, that's where Sam committed the fraud right there. They directed him to actually get commingled funds and drag them back into the parent company and then transfer it over to the Bahamian government.
Yep.
I mean, there alone is the fraud. I mean, that was illegal what he did, and so I just think this is going to be huge, and I think it's going to absolutely affect the next elections, and I think it's going to put a lot of people on defense. And at the end of the day, Russia may defeat Ukraine because there'll be such a distaste for sending any more money into Ukraine because of the game that they try to play here. And I think that's going to be tragic.
Yeah. Well, people compare this to Enron, but I think this is going to make Enron look simplistic.
Pikers.
Yeah.
Compared to this thing. This thing was a whole new level. These are state actors involved here. I'm convinced state actors are involved in this thing. I think Binance is backed by China. FTX was backed by the U.S. government. And I think this was a bit of a proxy war that I don't think they expected FTX to blow up. I think they thought they had this thing well in hand. I don't think they realized how out of control FTX was and working with the their trading arm
Right.
and just the mess that they created there. What did they say, over 200 bank accounts, Phil?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and it's not, it's this behavior in these crypto bull runs that over and over and over again. I mean, look at Three Arrows Capital, and everybody makes these very greedy decisions to try and maximize their profits instead of just trying to be moderate, and I always liken it to like Lord of the Rings, when they have like the one ring, and every time the humans grab the ring, it corrupts them,
Yeah.
and takes over. And that's just like how these crypto bull runs are. And so it's very interesting to see how this all plays out. But I agree with you. Like at the beginning of this, I wouldn't have thought state actors were involved. But the more it unravels, it's like, yeah, that's plausible now. So I think for you guys out there, just get your stuff off the exchanges until it all blows over, and they can iron out this proof of reserve stuff, and then that you have something reliable and safe that you can deal with. So
yeah. Maybe we should have titled this "One Token to Rule Them All."
that's a good title. Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to just keep talking about this because I think it's important, and we need to keep visibility on this. We can't let the politicians push this under the rug. Too many people that were innocent on this lost money, and we're not going to let them just try to ignore it and let these people get redress, because everybody was in on this thing, and they all got caught and they're all dirty.
Yep. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Trade Genius Podcast. As always, we love your views. We love your comments. Please let us know what you think below. Please hit that like and subscribe button and ring that bell. It really helps out our channel. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Trade Genius.